What is up, everyone? This is Be True Sports. I'm Bert, and I'm joined by,
Sparsh here.
And Trey, as always.
and today we're going to be talking about Kristaps Porzingis. Now, Kristaps Porzingis and the Dallas Mavericks got eliminated by the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 7 in Round 1. And right after that, there was a lot of controversy about Kristaps Porzingis and how he was used and all that. And so today we're asking the question, is Kristaps Porzingis justified, or is he right to be angry at how he was used? Sparsh, I believe you had some quotes for what was going on.
Yeah. So pretty much after that series, that Game 7 series, there was a report a day after where Kristaps Porzingis was quote unquote not being happy with being an afterthought to Luka Doncic on the Mavs. And there was actually another report on the Zach Lowe podcast, ESPN NBA insider Tim McMahon. He stated on the podcast that Porzingis is not at all enjoying playing for Dallas, and Porzingis and Luka do not even like each other, right? So, and that's also been sort of a problem throughout the year. We've heard some reports here and there, even throughout the season, that Luka and KP have had sort of an on and off relationship with each other.
Yeah, I mean, look, this situation's so difficult to fully try and wrap your head around because Kristaps Porzingis was supposed to be the second star in Dallas. And last year, he kind of was being treated as the second star. But I feel like what's changed is that he's just gotten injured so much. If you remember in that Clippers series last year against with Mavericks Clippers, they matched up last year as well. If you remember that, the Mavericks completely, they looked like a totally different team when Porzingis was out. But this year, they looked possibly better when Porzingis was out at times. It felt like Porzingis wasn't making as much of an impact this year as he was last year.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad sort of year, or not just a year, but few years with the injuries, right? Especially with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that ACL tear, right, that left him out for a year. And then he also had a meniscus tear, I believe, right? And he just hasn't been able to sort of get that edge back, especially with his tenure in the Mavs, right?
Yeah, and I mean, something people don't talk about is that, last year the Mavs had the greatest offensive efficiency season for any NBA team. They were the most efficient offense in NBA history. And Porzingis was a part of that. He was a very big part of that. But what's changed this year is I think the system has changed. I think they're purposefully not using Kristaps as much because they don't want to rely on him a lot and then have him get injured and then not be able to run it back like that. Trey, what do you think about all that?
I mean, based off his performance in the playoffs, I don't think him being mad is really justified at, putting up 13 points, 5 rebounds, and less than 1 block during the whole series that he played. I just feel like it's unacceptable for any secondary star, to be honest. And, if, I would understand if it was like last year where he was putting up a lot of good points and he was productive, and then, dealt with the injury, but he played all 7 games this year and he just did not look like the guy, we're accustomed to seeing. I don't know what's next for him because I don't see this team really having much use for him at this point. It's funny to think that back when he got traded, he was the main part of the trade, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. was the secondary part. But Tim Hardaway Jr. was much better this series than Porzingis. So I don't see the justification this time around. If it was last year or any other year, I can understand why. But it's not like he's even played a full season in his whole NBA career yet. So it's a tough one for Porzingis.
Yeah, and also during that series, Tim Hardaway got injured too in the middle of that. And he also managed to come back and still do pretty decently, right? See, the thing that I also agree with your point is just how he is sort of trying to generate the offense on his end. Because we got Luka here and he has one of the highest usage rates. I think he actually has the highest this season, right? But when you have Kristaps Porzingis, and one of the things that I noticed a lot in this series is that they went small ball on KP, right? And the shortest guy on KP was 6'6", right? And KP's around 7'3". He nearly has a whole foot over them. But there were so many plays. I think you guys must have seen that one fast break play where he just takes the ball and he's on the fast break, but he ends up shooting like an uncontested three, right? When he could have easily just went right to the rim for a dunk. And that's just the same thing that's been happening in those matchups when he's being defended by somebody much shorter than him too, right? He just doesn't post up nicely, and he hasn't really been taking advantage of his size over the Clippers as well. Because when you look at the Clippers, like the one big guy, I guess, is Zubac on that team, right? And he's not really as mobile. And then you also got Serge Ibaka, but then he also had some sort of back injury, and he's currently out for the rest of the playoffs as well. And KP really sort of failed to capitalize on that situation and generate some points in the paint for the Mavs as well.
Yeah, I mean, is it fair to say he's kind of the opposite of Ben Simmons on terms of offense? He rarely takes it inside, which is strange because his shot chart is so, like, he has so many. I believe in the playoff series he was 14 of 18, like within 8 feet or something like that. That's really, he should be doing that way more. Like, he should be inside and using his size, like you said. He's 7'3", and he doesn't even rebound that well either. And some clips have been floating around of like people being like, well, Luka doesn't pass him the ball, and like it's a clip of like Luka being double teamed and Kristaps is open, and he doesn't give him the ball. But you got to understand, like, Luka's averaging 35 points a game and 10 assists, so it's not like he's not passing the ball. He's literally doing everything for this team. The reason he's probably not passing to Porzingis is because he probably thinks he has a better chance of making a contested shot in a double team than Porzingis making an open three, which might be true. I haven't checked the stats on that, but it might be true because Porzingis was regularly he's kind of like KD in the sense of when he shoots, his release point is high, so nobody's really putting their hand on the ball usually when he shoots. Usually the guys below him, and he can just take a normal jump shot if he just calms down and just takes a jump shot. But the problem is, even while having that space to get a clean jump shot off, he just wasn't making them. He wasn't making them, and it was like, even while he was wide open from the 3-point line, he wasn't making them. I see why he's angry at this and why this maybe caused a rift between him and the coach. But at the same time, like, look, you're not healthy, or you weren't healthy for half the year. They had to change their system to be fully around Luka because they couldn't rely on you even being healthy. Not only that, but you keep missing shots even when you're open and you're not using your size to your advantage. Like, I can't really feel bad for you in that sense because some of it's on you. Like, you got to try and condition your body better. I mean, I know injuries are a freak thing, but you need to find the right type of doctor to help get you on a right type of diet or right type of exercise plan. Something that just got to condition your body better for the season. And you got to make your shots. You got to make your open shots. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, in this series, I just felt like there was too many points where Porzingis would just chuck up threes whenever he got the ball. He averaged like around like 4 3-point attempts per game, and he made only one of them. And I think he shot around like a low 30, high 20s for the 3-point from the 3-point line. You're not reliable. He wasn't reliable, and he wasn't their guy. And it's disheartening a little bit because you would think after the Knicks, how things kind of went out with the Knicks, you would think like, this is your time to shine. You can be that guy. When the guys are really, Jalen Brunson and Tim Hardaway Jr., it really looks bad on your part. And, for someone of his caliber, his talent, it's just unacceptable. And, obviously I'm not an NBA player. I can't tell him, what he can do and what he shouldn't do. But, from an outside in perspective, it's like, there's much more you can do. If I was in your position, all the hypothetical stuff, I was kind of hoping for him to kind of like elevate this season in this postseason. This was our opportunity. The Clippers, they're a good team and all, but I feel like the Mavericks, they were up 2-0, this series.
they should have won that series.
They should have won. And I just felt like Porzingis was one of the big reasons why they lost.
That was one of the strangest series ever. Like, the first 6 games, like, it was the away team that was winning it all as well. Like, after they went 2-0, and then in game 3 they were up 30-11, right? And then when Carlisle takes Luka out, and then the Clippers just somehow managed to get back in. After that, I just sort of started to realize that, oh shit, this is probably gonna go to game 7 for sure, and this might be for the Clips, right? But I mean, going to what Porzingis has been saying about unhappy with his role, like I do feel that there is some sort of validity to it, because it just sort of came to my mind. There was this one press conference where they asked Rick Carlisle, why don't you use Porzingis more in the paint? And he's like, well, he can already shoot well from the 3. I don't need him to go in the paint. We can just, because who else as a center can shoot the 3, right? So maybe there's been some sort of encouragement from Rick Carlisle there. But then again, right, you're on like a $30 million contract, right? You're expected to be that number 2 guy to Luka. I mean, you should at least also be able to tell the coach, hey, let me do this, let me go in the paint. If he's making you always just shoot from the 3, you should also be able to sort of take that initiative as well and just say, hey, I'm going to make this shot, right? Because I mean, there was so many chances over there for him to take the shot, especially considering the mismatches he created, like size-wise, but he never really took advantage of that, right? And that was also like the biggest reason that the Mavericks lost this series, right? I mean, because Luka did it all, even with that neck injury that he had, right?
And it's not like he has to just stay 3-point line every single time. Maybe his coach is saying that, but at the same time, even in football, players call audibles. Quarterbacks call audibles to change the play because they don't agree with the coach, and it works out sometimes. So, Porzingis should probably taken a step up and called an audible. Just called for the ball in the post. Just taking whoever was on him. If they were any height under like 6'10", he should just taken him right in the post immediately. Like he should have. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in the locker room or anything, but I'm not sure how much communication there was. I'm not sure if they were maybe listening to Lucas or listening to Kristaps' concerns, or if maybe he didn't voice them. I don't know, but at some point, yeah, like he should have just kind of called an audible on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit as well. If I recall correctly, I think when he tore one of his injuries, one of his major injuries he had, he was driving to the rim, and I want to say it was his ACL or his meniscus, one of the injuries, but it involved him pretty much driving to the rim. I think maybe that always kind of lingers in the back of his head, makes him kind of afraid of engaging in contact and stuff like that. And I feel like when something like that, such a traumatic experience happens to you, it kind of makes you kind of question how much you want to go through potentially another situation like that. So I feel like maybe that can be, messing up his mental and why he is so hesitant of going into post when you're 7'3". It happens sometimes.
That's true. That's very true. But yeah, I mean, I think Porzingis just needs another shot on another team. If he can't get it going there, I don't really know what to say. I'm not exactly sure who's been willing to trade for him. I haven't heard many rumors at all about Kristaps Porzingis being traded. I mean, I've heard that they've kind of been seeking a trade, but I haven't heard any interest back yet. I'm not sure if either of you two have.
Yeah, that sort of thing is sort of came out like after the series was over, that the Mavs have been trying to trade for him throughout the season, but they just weren't really able to get anything, right? And I don't exactly know when the Luka and KP like relationship rumors were starting, but it was pretty common, like we heard throughout the season, that there's been some sort of trouble too. And then now we have a situation, right? Like after game 7, Luka, when he's asked if he's going to get the bag, or he's like, well, what do you think, right? We thought, okay, he's probably staying for sure, right? And they're probably going to run it back, maybe trade KP for somebody else. But then you got Rick Carlisle leaving, and you got their GM like just stepping down as well. And it just seems to be such a complete mess over there right now. I have no idea what they're going to do in the offseason to make Luka happy, because it looks like everything is going through him right now, right? I don't know what Mark Cuban's going to be able to do to keep him there in Dallas.
Yeah, what's also concerning about that situation, there were rumors saying that Luka was not a big fan of somebody in the front office, supposedly, but one of the people he really enjoyed it having in the front office was Donnie Nelson, and not having him there, I feel like that could definitely kind of play a big factor in if Luka wants to stay or not. I mean, they were concerned already, and I think letting go of Donnie Nelson raises a lot more concerns.
Well, that's a different topic for another video. But with that, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you all for tuning in to Speak True Sports. Once again, I've been Bert, and I'm joined by
Sparsh here.
Trey.
And we will catch you guys next time. Make sure to check out our website. We got it up and running. We're going to have some articles on there. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. Follow and like and share and subscribe. Do all that good stuff to help us grow, if you so please. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.